All right, welcome back, crime fighters, for another edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted, the program where you get to help make Calhoun County a better and safer place by helping us lock up the bad guys. I'm Chris Wright, your host, along with Calhoun County Sheriff Matthew Wade. Good to see you, Sheriff.
Always good to be on the show, Chris. I tell you what, school's starting up. It's one of my favorite times of the year. It's just an excitement in the air and people's moving and football's about to start.
Yeah. William starts school tomorrow. He had the open house kind of greeting day yesterday, and he got all dressed up looking nice, and he's moving up into the middle school now.
I tell you, big times, big times.
Yeah.
It is my favorite time of the year. Our school resource officers, we have 7 of them, and they were all in the schools Monday when school started, and so far they reported we're off to a good school year in the county schools, and want to keep everybody safe and just remind people to be a little patient in the mornings, leave a little early, and don't drive crazy.
Yeah, if you don't leave any extra time in your schedule, something's going to go wrong, and it just all dominoes.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids running around those schools, and people in the mornings just need to make sure they drive safe and slow down a little bit. So.
All right. Well, let's talk about the good work our viewers have done this week.
Never let us down. 2 arrests this week brings our total up to 4,435 people put in jail, all because somebody was willing to get involved, and we thank you for that.
All right, so of course we've got a fresh lineup this week, as we always do, and we'll get started with that coming up in just a few minutes. And this is going to be a totally rad episode of Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
Rad.
And we'll find out why
Yep.
when we come back on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. All right, crime fighters, here's the first half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. We're starting off with Chad Ward of Piedmont, wanted on a failure to appear warrant for possession of a controlled substance and use and possession of drug paraphernalia. Stephanie Hughes of Alexandria, wanted for possession of a controlled substance and failure to appear warrant for theft of property, 4th degree. Terrell Lawler of East Aboga, wanted on a failure to appear warrant for possession of marijuana, 2nd degree. Michael Howell of Piedmont, wanted on a probation violation for possession of marijuana, 1st degree. Ricky Sanders of Piedmont, wanted for attempting to elude law enforcement. Michael Snyder of Weaver, wanted for failure to pay for possession of a controlled substance. And Robert Fudge of Hinesville, Georgia, wanted on a failure to appear warrant for theft of property, 4th degree. If you have any information about these cases, please call Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414. Back to the crime fighting in just a few minutes, but it's rad time now, Sheriff.
It's always time to be rad at the sheriff's office.
We're not using cheesy buzzwords from the 80s. We're talking about a very important class that's coming up and offered on a regular basis, Sheriff.
Absolutely. You know, we've been doing citizen firearms training for 20 years, and so we wanted to do something that was helpful for women. And so about 3 years ago, we sold out a class called RAD. It stands for Rape, Aggression, and Defense. It's a nationally certified class. We send our people to it to be certified instructors, and this is a hands-on class that's for women and women only.
Now, when you say we want something for women as well, you're not implying that the women don't participate in the gun classes.
No, women. I've never seen a mad woman miss. I didn't mean it that way, but you know, I've never seen a mad woman miss. With women are normally better with firearms, but we wanted to provide something as far as a self-defense class for women would be a better term, and it's been very, very good. So
Christina and Jennifer are a couple of the instructors, the super awesome RAD instructors. So Christina informed us that they're not just RAD instructors, they're super awesome. And we're not going to argue that, are we, Sheriff?
No, we won't argue
that. So what is super awesome about the RAD classes?
It's just an empowering class. Like you don't realize how much you don't focus on your surroundings until you actually take the class. You don't realize all the things that can help you be more aware and potentially get away from an attacker.
And Jennifer, we don't want to live our lives constantly thinking about negative thoughts.
Right.
But if we train ourselves to be aware of where the potential dangers can be, just a minimal effort can make a big difference, right?
Yes, the class will teach you like things to look for, how to make sure your home is safe, so when you come back into the driveway, you know, you can look at certain things and realize, hey, that's different than when I left. It teaches you, you know, how to look at your vehicle when you come back out of the parking lot to make sure no one's around it or anything like that. So it teaches a lot of good techniques to look for, just simple things that you can keep in mind that can help you stay safe.
And Sheriff, I know that's one of the most frustrating things for you as a law enforcement professional for so many years, when you go out to meet with someone who's been victimized and you're getting the details and you see in the details something that could have easily kept this from happening. And you don't want to throw that in the victim's face, but at the same time you're thinking, what can we do to make sure that people know these things and follow them on a regular basis to prevent this in the future?
Absolutely. And this class is about empowering women to take charge of their surroundings, take charge of their life. It's just something that you want people to be in charge and confident of their situation and their surroundings. So that's what this is trying to do for them. So.
Jennifer, what are some of those things that we need to start thinking about?
A lot of things that they teach, that we'll teach in the class is like if you leave your home and you're going to be out, after dark, to turn a light on in your house. And that way if you come back and the light's off or the light, a different light's on, somebody's been in your house. We'll teach how, make sure you've got outdoor lighting, make sure there's no shrubs and things where people can hide behind. Make sure you keep your blinds and your drapes pulled at night so that they don't know where you're at in the home. We'll teach how when you come out into the vehicle, always just glance under your vehicle, glance to the side so that no one comes out and grabs you.
You talk about the blinds. That's an interesting point because a lot of times we'll close the blinds where we happen to be because we don't want people looking in and seeing us, but we're leaving blinds open in other places that we're not worried about because we're not there. Well, that's information that they want as well.
Absolutely, especially like in your garage or your kitchen area. I know that we're bad about that, or my wife is. I like to close them all. I don't like to have anybody looking in the house. So. But just techniques like that. And this is a hands-on class. This is not just a lecture type class. There will be hands-on techniques taught and practiced and demonstrated, and it's really more than just a lecture type series.
All right, so you're going to get physical, huh, there, Christina? All right, what are some of the things that people need to be prepared for? Is everybody going to get physical?
If they're comfortable with it, it's not something that we require. If they have any injuries or anything like that would prevent them from doing something, we try to tailor any of the moves that we teach people something that they feel comfortable with, but it's not limited to just the physically fit or the young. It's for everybody to be able to do the moves. And
my mother's gone through the course, and I won't say her age because she'll kill me, but my mother's gone through it, and anybody can go through it. It doesn't have to be a certain physical level, but it's free, and women that come, I've had some women that's come more than once, and it's just a really good class, and it's not just us sitting around saying what we think. It's something it's a national program.
I think that's a good point, coming more than once, and that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody needs to do that, but anything that we want to do right when there's a situation that's not going to happen every day, but we want to be prepared for when it does happen, we don't just prepare ourselves one time. We have to change our mindset and be ready to react in that instant, don't we, Jennifer?
Yes.
So how can we do that? What are some things that can help us just adjust our daily routine to be prepared?
Well, a lot's going to be practice, and that's why a lot of people do come back to the classes more than once, because the more practice you have, it actually becomes like muscle memory. So that when you're in that situation, and a lot of the people will see that because at the last of the class, the last day will be like a simulation that will actually like put you in a situation, because we have aggressors that are trained to do this, and they'll put you in a situation just like you were being attacked, and you'll get to fight your way out of it, if you're comfortable doing that. And the more you do it, the more it'll just be instinct to you.
The muscle memory is a big part. Also the confidence of seeing that you did it right gives you the confidence to do it in that moment. We need to take a quick break, but we want to talk some more about this, including, of course, when this class is going to be and how people can get signed up. We will be back in just a few minutes with the second half of this week's lineup and more about RAD here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. All right, here's the second half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Robert McLeod of Jacksonville, wanted on a failure to appear warrant for use and possession of drug paraphernalia. Ramona Thompson of Boaz, wanted on a probation revocation for attempted identity theft. Dawood Richardson of Gadsden, wanted on a failure to appear warrant for violating a domestic violence protection order. Shelley Third of Munford, wanted on a failure to appear warrant for use and possession of drug paraphernalia. Michael Haywood of Sylacauga, wanted on a failure to appear warrant for possession of marijuana, second degree. Elizabeth Spradlin of Lincoln, wanted on a failure to appear warrant for illegal possession of prescription drugs, possession of marijuana, second degree, and use and possession of drug paraphernalia. If you have any information, please contact Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414. You don't have to tell us who you are. We just want your information, and you could get a cash reward of up to $1,000. All right, we'll have the Crime Stoppers segment of the show here in a few minutes, talk about some property crimes that we need your help with, including one that's a little out of the ordinary, and we may have some good news on that one. But right now we're talking about RAD, the Rape Aggression Defense classes that we do on a regular basis at the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office. And Christina and Jennifer are here, a couple of the instructors for these RAD classes. The point of the classes is survival, right? Mm-hmm. It's not about taking somebody else out. It's about making sure that you survive as well as you can. But depending on what's happening, you learn different techniques to achieve that survival, don't you? Mm-hmm. So what are some of the scenarios that you might face that might change how you respond?
Most people think if somebody's got the want to rape you or attack you, that you have to get away, and you're not a good person if you don't get away. Sometimes if they have a gun to your head, the only option you might have is to comply with what they say. And that doesn't make you less of a person. It doesn't make it wrong. Your goal is to survive the event.
It's a horrible thought to have to consider, but sometimes that is the best option available. And pray that it's never the case for me or any of my family, but you have to consider what the different scenarios are. So what are some of the different levels or scenarios that we could see here, and how do we respond differently to those?
Well, there can be any different scenarios. In the class, when we get into the physical part, we'll teach you how to get out of different scenarios. We'll teach how to get out if an aggressor comes behind you and puts you in a bear hug, if they grab you from the front, if they knock you to the ground and they're on top of you. We teach all different kinds of techniques of how to get out of those. Mm-hmm. But once again, sometimes compliance is the only way. Your goal is to survive. Your goal is to survive and to get away. That is what we teach. It doesn't matter if you take them down, whatever the case is, as soon as you can get away, you get away. Mm-hmm. Run is your best option.
So what are some of the common mistakes that people are making that we need to try to get as many people as possible past?
I think some of the mistakes is they feel like I need to wound them, their instinct is to keep fighting. And as soon as you can get away, you need to run away. You need to yell as loud as you can.
And about the yelling, there's actually a difference that we teach them in the class. It's not screaming. Like most people think they have to scream, sort of like a kid at a playground, that shrill, just high-pitched scream, and you don't want to do that. You want to yell. Sort of like a mom getting onto her kid. That's the example that I use because I have kids, where it causes you to actually focus on what you're saying, and it actually slows your breathing down. And somebody's more likely to look if somebody's yelling, "Hey, help," instead of just "ah." Mm-hmm. So.
Sheriff, it's always wonderful when a potential victim is able to give a lot of detail and do something that does help catch a criminal. But that first thing has to be survive. get
Absolutely.
away, and then people will be surprised at how much information they're able to give that does help, even if they didn't think that they saw or heard much.
Absolutely. People know more than they think. I think one of the biggest pitfalls is people believing they can do it. People believing, I'm going to survive, I can survive, I can do this, I can fight, I can do what it takes to do that. So I think that's the biggest thing that we want to teach in this class, is that you can survive, you can fight, you can do these things to get past this event. So that's one of the biggest things that I think you have to have, that mindset. You know, law enforcement officers have to have that mindset that we're going to survive. So if you don't have that mindset and something happens and you haven't thought about it or trained for it, it decreases your chances of actually making it. So.
And I guess one other important point is that, you know, regardless of how many classes you take and how many precautions you have in your life, bad things happen sometimes. And when they happen, it's very important to let somebody know that it happened.
Right.
Yes.
And that's important for helping to catch the perpetrator of the crime. It's also important for helping the victim move on and past. I know it can be tough, but and I don't want to sound like I'm the person saying I know what everybody else should do, but from everything I've been told from experts, it does help to move past it once you get it out there. So let's talk about the particulars of this class. When is it coming up? How can people get signed up?
Well, it's going to be held at the Sheriff's Office. It's the 20th, the 22nd, and then the 27th and 29th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then
Is that 4 separate classes, or is that?
Yes, it's broken down. It's a 12-hour class,
Okay.
and we've broken it down so it's not everybody in a room for 12 hours.
Okay.
And then just to sign up, you just call the Sheriff's Office and actually speak with Jennifer.
All right. Well, ladies, thank you very much for being here to talk about this. Thanks for taking all the training and getting yourself prepared to help get other ladies prepared. All right. We'll be back in just a few moments. We'll have the Crime Stoppers segment of the show and our Crazy Criminal of the Week here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. All right, we've got some interesting items here on the Crime Stoppers segment of the show today. On July 29th, a 2008 Shivers utility trailer was reported stolen from a residence on Post Oak Road in Jacksonville. Between July 27th and July 29th, a white enclosed utility trailer containing a Porter Campbell air compressor, torpedo heater, pressure washer, Black & Decker sanders and jigsaw, a popcorn sealing sprayer, and numerous other tools was stolen from a residence on Cross Creek Trail. On July 31st, an unknown person stole 4 steel weed eaters, 2 blowers, 2 edgers, 2 sprayers, and various other yard tools from a utility trailer. And then on August 1st, another theft of yard tools occurred at the same location on Highway 431. On August 4th, 2 backpack leaf blowers, steel head trimmers, edger, and a steel combi unit were stolen from a work truck while it was parked at a location on Little John Road in Jacksonville. On August 5th, around 12:30 a.m., an illegal entry of 2 vehicles occurred at a residence on Blay Drive in Alexandria. A naked white male covered in mud was seen in one of the vehicles before running away. Also on August 5th, a Chevrolet Silverado was stolen from a residence on Gate 5 Road in Alexandria. It was recovered on Morrisville Road in Anniston. Mud was found inside the truck. And on August 5th, a vehicle was illegally entered at an apartment complex on Blackberry Lane in Alexandria. If you have any information about these cases, which may in some cases be connected, please call Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
All right, Sheriff, we do believe we have some good news concerning some of those crimes there.
We do. The guy that might have been slipping around Alexandria and stealing the car and everything else, I believe we might have a lead on him. You know, I think we caught him. He's running around clothesless.
Naked.
Naked, as a jaybird.
Not naked, but naked. Naked
Naked.
means you're up to no good.
Yeah.
Without any clothes on.
Yeah.
Covered in mud. Do I want to know the details on that?
I don't know what he was on, but it must have been some really good stuff, because he went on a tear and stole a car and ran and got broken into some other cars, and it was just
But still, if anybody has any additional information about that, we do want to hear from them.
absolutely, there might be some things that he's done that we didn't know that he did. You know, whatever, he was on some type of substance. You know, we took him to the hospital. He tried to get away at the hospital. He just was naked and not doing right. So.
All right, so our official crazy criminal of the week, though, this week is an individual who got busted by an unusual source. Guy's driving down the highway, and his 5-year-old son's playing with his phone and notices that Dad ran the red light twice. So he calls the emergency number. This was in Germany, I think, so it wasn't 911, but he calls the emergency number and tells the authorities, hey, my dad just ran 2 red lights.
So did he get stopped and get a ticket, or?
I think they actually did not take the 5-year-old's word for it. So
Well,
Dad's okay, 5-year-old may not be.
5-year-old's butt might be sore.
It might be. All right, that's all the time that we have for this week. We'll be looking for you again next week, but hopefully not naked and breaking into cars or in the lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.